The United States hired Nazi scientists and used them to win the space race. No, seriously. The same people who built weapons for Hitler would later help put Americans on the moon. This is Operation Paperclip, one of the strangest and most controversial programs in US history. Quick note, this is a complex and serious part of history, but we're going to break it down in a simple, engaging way so you can actually understand what happened. After World War II, the Allies faced a huge problem. Germany's brightest minds were still alive, skilled and ready to work. The Americans thought, maybe we can hire them, even if they worked for Nazis. Welcome to Operation Paperclip. Spies, rockets and moral compromise all wrapped in one plan. Europe lay in ruins, cities flattened, millions displaced. The Cold War quietly began. America wanted to dominate skies, space and military tech, but they needed brains, fast. Enter Wernher von Braun, rocket genius, designer of the V-2 missile capable of hitting London from Germany. Brilliant, terrifying and a Nazi. The US wanted talent, but his past was messy. He'd worked for the Nazis, overseen forced labor, and developed weapons of mass destruction. Minor details according to American officials. To solve this dilemma, the United States created Operation Paperclip. Recruit German scientists, bring them to the US, and harness their skills for rockets, jets, and space exploration. The codename Paperclip came from someone literally sticking a paperclip on approved files, genius hidden in office supplies. The first wave arrived in 1945-46. Engineers, chemists, physicists, some eager, some confused, some relieved to leave post-war Germany. Fort Bliss became the hub. Rocket research began immediately, coffee consumed, mistakes made, progress rapid. Critics asked, how can you recruit Nazis? The US response, morality later. Right now the Soviets are our problem. Von Braun adapted quickly. He even learned baseball. The man who designed rockets to destroy cities also tried to hit a home run. Hundreds of scientists were recruited. Rocket engineers, chemical experts, some surprisingly good at paperwork. Each contributed to America's edge in Cold War tech. By 1947, jet engines improved, rocket prototypes were built, and the US quietly gained a technological advantage. Not all scientists had clean pasts. Some had actively participated in Nazi research programs. America chose pragmatism over justice. In 1958, NASA formed, absorbing paperclip scientists. Knowledge flowed directly into America's space program. Rockets and moons suddenly felt closer than ever. Saturn V rockets were tested. Engineers argued. Coffee spilled, mistakes made, laughter happened. Rockets still launched. Newspapers start asking, is it right to hire Nazis? Historians debate. America ignores most headlines. Rockets take priority. Decades later, the world discovers Operation Paperclip. Shocked reactions everywhere. They did what? The legacy, satellites, moon landings, missiles, and aerospace breakthroughs. Paperclip scientists changed the world. Morally complicated, yes, but undeniably impactful. Von Braun loved Disney. Rockets that as cartoons was perfect combo. Some of his ideas even inspired sci-fi movies. Scientists argued, spilled coffee, made mistakes, laughed at blunders. Science isn't always glamorous, but it's hilarious in hindsight. From 1945 to 1969, secret recruitment transformed the US military and space programs. Paperclip laid the foundation for America's moon landing. As the Soviets launched Sputnik, the US realized paperclip scientists were now America's secret weapon. Rockets, satellites, missiles, all possible thanks to recruited Nazis. Von Braun dreamed of the moon, literally. He designed rockets, planned missions, and inspired a generation to look beyond Earth, all while keeping his morally complicated past. Ethics were messy. Critics argued hiring Nazis was immoral. Americans argued practicality first. Paperclip became a symbol of moral compromise in pursuit of scientific progress. Scientists trained American engineers, tested rockets in deserts, wrote papers and developed propulsion systems that would later carry humans to space. The Cold War was heating up. Every advantage mattered. The US relied on these scientists to beat the Soviets in missiles, rockets, and eventually the moon. Not everything worked perfectly. Rockets exploded, labs caught fire, coffee spilled on blueprints, but progress never stopped. Paperclip scientists inspired movies, cartoons, and sci-fi. Von Braun even consulted on Disney's space shows. Rockets met imagination. The public didn't know the full story. Scientists were heroes, morally complex but brilliant. Secret missions, rockets, and space travel captured imaginations. As the Cold War intensified, rockets became more advanced, and paperclip scientists faced bigger challenges than ever before. Paperclip scientists conducted thousands of tests. Rockets exploded, engines failed, but each failure taught a lesson. America's desert ranges became labs of trial, error, and innovation. Engines were refined constantly. Fuel ratios, nozzle designs, combustion chambers, all were tested to perfection for future moon missions. Astronauts trained relentlessly. Paperclip experts taught physics, navigation, and emergency procedures to prepare them for space travel. Every successful test intensified the Cold War. The Soviets watched, and America wanted to stay ahead in rockets, missiles, and space exploration. Wernher von Braun became a public figure. He gave interviews, explained rocket science, and inspired the nation, all while hiding his Nazi past. Saturn V rockets were massive. Every stage, every engine, every wire had to be flawless. Paperclip scientists worked tirelessly to make it happen. Simulating moon conditions on Earth was tricky. Gravity, terrain, and life support required creative solutions. Some tests ended in disaster. Rockets exploded, smoke billowed, but lessons were learned with each failure. Rocket fuel became a science in itself. New propellants were tested to increase range, stability, and power. Paperclip scientists helped design early satellites for communication. Signals began crossing continents, connecting the world. Jet engines improved drastically thanks to paperclip expertise. Military and commercial aircraft gained unprecedented speed and reliability. Knowledge transfer was crucial. Scientists trained engineers who would carry America's space program forward for decades. Early rockets started hitting targets accurately. Paperclip scientists quietly celebrated while the world remained unaware of their origins. The Soviets launched Sputnik, shocking the US. Paperclip scientists were now America's secret weapon in the race to space. NASA planned to land humans on the moon. Every calculation, every trajectory, every fuel estimate had to be perfect. Engines were tested rigorously. Nothing could be left to chance. Every test taught the team how to make the next launch better. Astronauts practiced every possible scenario on Earth, from emergency landings to lunar gravity simulations. Final Saturn V tests were tense. Engines roared, flames erupted, and paperclip scientists held their breath. By 1969, Apollo 11 was ready. Paperclip scientists ensured every instrument, wire, and bolt worked flawlessly. The countdown started. All decades of work depended on this single launch. Saturn V lifted off. Flames burst, smoke billowed, carrying humanity's hopes to the moon. The spacecraft reached orbit successfully. Paperclip scientists quietly celebrated. Their work had carried humans beyond Earth. The moon approached. Every calculation mattered. Decades of secret science guided humanity to this point. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon. Every late-night experiment from paperclip scientists had paid off. The American flag was planted on the lunar surface, a symbol of achievement and secret German expertise. The world watched in amazement. Few knew the hidden scientists behind the scenes. Celebrations erupted worldwide. Rockets, science, and bravery combined to inspire generations. Scientists analyzed every detail of the mission. Lessons learned would guide future space exploration. Operation Paperclip left a complicated legacy. Scientific triumphs built on morally questionable foundations. Wernher von Braun even consulted for Disney. Some of his ideas inspired cartoons, sci-fi, and public imagination. Post-Apollo, scientists continued innovating. Satellite launches, military rockets, and early space stations. Knowledge transfer continued. New engineers learned from the first generation of paperclip scientists. Early space stations were built using lessons from paperclip-era science, bringing humans closer to sustained space living. Even as satellites orbited Earth, the Cold War kept pressure on engineers to innovate faster than the Soviets. Years later, humanity celebrated moon landing anniversaries. Few realized the hidden hands behind the rockets. Movies, cartoons, and science fiction drew inspiration from real rocket science, blending imagination with reality. Historians continue to debate, was hiring Nazis justified by scientific achievements? No easy answers existed. Rockets evolved rapidly, more efficient engines, better navigation, and heavier payloads for space exploration. Satellite technology grew from paperclip innovations. Global communications, weather monitoring, and GPS became possible. The US and USSR raced in space, leveraging knowledge from secret scientists to gain the upper hand. Scientists tested lunar modules on Earth, simulating moon conditions to ensure safe astronaut landings. Fuel experiments continued, improving power, stability, and efficiency for longer space missions. Safety protocols were refined, ensuring that astronauts could survive emergencies in space. Jet technology innovations accelerated both military and commercial aviation, thanks to paperclip engineers. Von Braun and other scientists gave lectures, inspiring students and the public to dream about space. Failures still happened. Rockets exploded, engines failed, mistakes were made, but each setback taught vital lessons. NASA absorbed paperclip knowledge, applying it to Saturn V, Apollo missions, and beyond. Preparation for the moon landing involved simulations, tests, and meticulous calculations. Countdown began. Every scientist and engineer held their breath as humanity reached for the stars. Saturn V lifted off, carrying the first humans to the moon. Flames roared, smoke billowed, history was made. The spacecraft reached orbit and traveled to the moon, guided by decades of secret research. The lunar module descended carefully, every calculation ensuring safety and success. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the lunar surface, a moment decades in the making. The American flag was planted, symbolic triumph backed by secret expertise. Apollo 11 collected moon rocks, documenting findings that would guide future exploration. The module returned to orbit, preparing to rendezvous with the command spacecraft. Safe return to Earth marked the culmination of decades of preparation, innovation, and secret science. Celebrations erupted across the globe. Paperclip scientists quietly smiled, knowing their hidden work made it possible. Post-mission analysis informed all future space endeavors, ensuring safer, more ambitious missions. The legacy was immense. Rockets, satellites, jet engines, and human space exploration, all built on morally complex foundations. Von Braun's love for Disney inspired cartoons and sci-fi films, blending imagination with real science. Even in serious labs, humor thrived. Coffee spills, mistakes, and pranks kept spirits high. Scientists trained engineers and astronauts for decades, spreading knowledge across generations. Every Cold War technological advance carried fingerprints of paperclip scientists. Satellites improved communications, weather forecasts, and global positioning, all thanks to secret science. Movies, cartoons, and sci-fi drew inspiration from real rocket science, blending imagination with reality. Anniversaries reminded the world of human achievement, rarely acknowledging the hidden scientists behind it. Paperclip innovations laid foundations for modern rocketry, space stations, and exploration missions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore more stories of science, ambition, and human complexity.